Episode 381. Today we're talking about some standouts in last night's match between LA and Chicago. And honestly, a very stingy game from LA. And I think this was a loss from Chicago that I don't think it necessarily hurts them. I think it can bounce back from it. They have a young team. They can be resilient and move on from it. And that's the good thing about Chicago is even though there gonna be times where they lose this year, and I don't know how many times they're gonna lose this year. It could be a lot, could be not many. But when they lose, they have a lot of young guys who can just be super resilient about it and just come to the rink the next day and be excited to be at the rink. So I think that's the most important thing when you're looking at Chicago. Like this was a stingy loss from LA in terms of neutral zone trapping, being able to force guys to the outside, not allowing middle lane entries in the offensive zone or their defensive zone, and just being able to shut plays down, being able to keep plays to the perimeter. And one-on-one aggressive teams, man-on-man coverage, and when it comes at 5-on-5 and they're PK. And they did a really good job of it last night. They were able to shut plays down pretty quick and they were able to isolate guys on entry. They were able to close gaps. They were able to use their sticks. And they were just doing a good job of using that all around ability. And I thought that was important just to the way they play the game and how they're able to compete and how they're able to just manage the tempo a little bit more. And then when they're pinning guys man to man, they usually forces the puck to move around a little bit quicker, and sometimes the Hawks weren't able to do that, and they were forced to adapt a little bit quicker to it. And outside of that, some standouts. Connor Bedard was Connor Bedard. We all know what he can do, what he can bring, and he looked lights out offensively. He looked really good, and I mean, the only two guys on the score sheet for Chicago this game were Connor Bedard and Ilya Mikheyev, which is unfortunate, but that's the truth. They only had one goal in this game. And but Bedard looked really good. He was trying to maneuver through guys, especially the first quarter of the game, and then he kind of slowed down after that, and LA was able to slow him down. But same with Frank Nazar. I thought Frank Nazar was still a bright spot despite him not really showing on the score sheet. Same with Artie Levshunov and who else? Was another good example. Jason Dickinson is another good example. Him returning from injury, coming back and winning some draws and being key in the defensive zone, being a key shutdown player for them. And he was very reliable defensively, as he always is. So he looked really good. Connor Murphy was a noticeable stand on the physical side, like he usually is too, and just plays shutdown defense, is able to rock guys and able to step up on guys, and did a good job maintaining some clean hits as well. On LA's side, a lot of more guys in the score sheet, obviously. And Alex Laferriere had a goal off the rush in this game with 6 shots. He was creating a lot of shot volume. Corey Perry against his former team had 1 assist. You look at Adrian Kempe, he had 1 point as well. Kevin Fiala had a goal. Kevin Fiala usually plays well against Chicago, though. And usually going back to his Nashville and Minnesota days, he's always seemed to play well against them. Same with Philip Deneau. Ever since coming back to Chicago, he had an assist, but he looked really good as a shutdown center once again this game. Matchups wise, I mean, the thing is they have two essential matchup lines. Like you can put Kopitar as a matchup line, you can put the Dano line as a matchup line. So the Kings essentially have two there that they can leverage to the best of their ability. And they're elite defensive players. I mean, Phil Dano obviously isn't gonna get enough credit, but he's an elite defensive player, an elite shutdown player. Just his instincts, his ability to know where to go and how to shut plays down is pretty remarkable. So he was doing a good job and he was very noticeable. And Joel Edmondson, another guy who seems to quietly play well against the Hawks too. Yeah, again, he played for against them for a long time when he started off with St. Louis, and he had an assist, and he looked really noticeable too. Yoel Armia, and another guy, I feel like. So there's a lot of guys in this mix who I feel like I've said this a lot, but have stood out and always seem to make themselves noticeable against Chicago because they've had experience playing them divisionally before, so it makes sense why they kind of stand out a little bit further. But other than that, not a bad game from the Hawks, but not a good game by any means, because there's a lot more that they kind of left in the tank that was a little unfortunate as to how they lost this game.